back to the Mayhem Summer Slam, where questionable teams bring questionable brews. For this week, we're wrapping up round 1 with the 4-player cEDH round. With that being said, let's check out the pod today. First, we have Elijah on Etali Dino Deckout, a Gruul combo deck that seeks to utilize Etali as both guard advantage and a win con, either with Cloudstone Loops or Infect. Evan on Syr Gwyn Bonk, a Voltron deck that seeks to armor up Syr Gwyn and swing in for big damage. Eli on Baral a mono blue control deck running no combos that seeks to stop everything its opponents try to do and win through attrition. And finally, Jake on Hapatra Typoxin, a Hulk deck that seeks to find its namesake card and create a Hulk pile or a backup line involving Yawgmoth shenanigans. And now, with each pilot on their respective corner of the screen, let us begin.
Evan has a pregame action and rolls for his deck choice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Syr Gwyn.
It's Syr Gwyn time.
Elijah draws and plays a Wooded Foothills, cracking it, paying a life, fetching up a Taiga. He plays a Delighted Halfling and passes. Evan draws, plays a Command Tower, a Vampiric Tutor, fetching up a card to the top of his library and losing 2 life, and passing. Eli draws, plays an island, and...
Mystic Remora.
Jake draws, plays a Bloodstained Mire, and cracks it, paying a life, fetching up a Bayou. He plays his own Delighted Halfling and passes. Elijah draws, plays a Carplusian Forest, and...
I'll just cast a Magus the Moon and keep everybody's lands down.
Oh, that's pretty suboptimal. Untap.
Yeah, that's fine. That's really funny.
I mean, I am in red, so I'm not that concerned about it. But like,
Oh no.
I get that. You're the other one who...
I'll tap this for red.
Yeah.
Play a Soul Ring that I'm not paying for.
Draw card.
Do I look like a man who pays taxes?
Evan follows it up with a Talisman of Conviction, not paying for Remora, and Stoneforge Mystic, fetching up the Reaver Cleaver into his hand. Evan passes. At the beginning of his upkeep, Eli lets his Remora die. He draws, plays an island, a Soul Ring, casts his commander, Baral Chief of Compliance, plays a Mox Amber, and passes. Jake draws, plays a Verdant Catacombs, a Jeweled Lotus, and casts his commander, Hapatra, Vizier of Poisons. He follows it up by discarding a card to cast Lesser Masticore, and passes. Elijah draws, plays City of Traders, and Mana Crypt. In response, Eli casts Arcane Denial, countering Mana Crypt, drawing and discarding through Baral. Elijah passes. At the beginning of Evan's upkeep, Elijah draws 2 cards and Eli draws 1 through Denial. Evan draws, plays a Swamp, and casts his commander, Syr Gwyn, Hero of Ashvale. Evan passes.
Island?
I'm gonna play a basic island. Wild, I know.
Eli plays a Thought Vessel and Part the Water Veil, taking an extra turn. The turn moves to Eli. Eli draws and plays Seagate Restoration, drawing 5 and having no maximum hand size for the rest of the game.
Jack, I have 4 spells that are all counterspell bait. I'm gonna find out. I don't have shit.
We're gonna find out real quick.
Jake draws and moves to combat, taking Elijah with Hapatra and Masticore. Elijah takes the hit, Jake puts a -1/-1 counter on Magus and creates a snake through Hapatra and passes. Elijah draws, plays a Shatter Skull Summit, and moves to combat, taking Jake with Magus. Jake blocks with Halfling, Magus is destroyed, and in his second main phase, Elijah plays Meltdown, where X equals 2. In response, Jake cracks his Catacombs, paying a life, fetching up a Swamp. Still in response, Eli casts an Offer You Can't Refuse, countering Meltdown and giving Elijah 2 treasures. Elijah follows it up with a Chrome Mox, imprinting Green Sun Zenith, and exiles Elvish Spirit Guide from his hand to help cast his commander, Etali, Primal Conqueror. It enters and exiles Helm of the Host, Timestream Navigator, Mana Crypt, and Eldritch Evolution off the top of each player's library. He casts Helm of the Host. In response, Eli plays Fierce Guardianship, countering Helm, drawing and discarding through Baral. Dismayed, Elijah follows it up with Mana Crypt, Timestream Navigator, gaining the city's blessing, and sacrifices Delighted Halfling to cast Eldritch Evolution, fetching up a Dockside Extortions onto the battlefield. It enters and creates 6 treasures. Elijah passes. Evan draws, plays Dothy Voidwalker, activates Stoneforge Mystic, putting Cloudsteel Kirin onto the battlefield, equips it to Syr Gwyn, plays Colossus Hammer, equipping it to Syr Gwyn, and moves to combat, taking Elijah with Gwyn, drawing and losing a life. Elijah takes the hit, and Evan passes. Eli draws, plays an island, Spellseeker, fetching up a Cyclonic Rift into his hand, and plays Walk the Eons, taking an extra turn. The turn moves to Eli. Eli draws, plays an island, and passes. Jake draws, and passes. At the beginning of his upkeep, Elijah wins his Mana Crypt trigger. He draws and moves to combat, taking Evan with Etali. Evan blocks with Gwyn, sending Etali back to the command zone, and in his second main phase, Elijah plays Cloudstone Curio. In response, Eli plays Archmage's Charm, countering Cloudstone and looting through Baral. When attempt thwarted, Elijah activates Timestream Navigator, putting it to the bottom of Eli's deck. In response, Eli casts Tail's End, countering Timestream's ability. Thwarted at every turn, Elijah passes. Evan draws, plays a Vault of Champions, activates Stoneforge Mystic, putting the Reaver Cleaver onto the battlefield, equips it to Gwyn, and moves to combat, tagging Jake with Gwyn, drawing a card and losing a life. Jake blocks Gwyn with Hapatra and his Snake token. Gwyn, Hapatra, and the Snake are destroyed, Jake takes the hit, and Evan creates 13 treasures. In his second main phase, Evan recasts his commander, Syr Gwyn, Hero of Ashvale, re-equips Cloudsteel Kieran, Colossus Hammer, and the Reaver Cleaver to Gwyn. At the end of turn, Eli exiles some of his graveyard to cast Dig Through Time, looking at the top 7, putting 2 into his hand, the rest to the bottom, and the turn moves to Eli. Eli draws and plays Capture of Jingzhou. In response, Evan casts Ad Nauseam.
This really tests your skill, because if you're a true fan of the channel, you know what to do here.
I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, that's how that works, right? I would like to pay a blue with Mox Amber. I would like to cast a rapid hybridization targeting your Delphi.
And that's in response to the ad nauseam.
Correct.
Which is in response to the capture.
Yes. Here, we can form a stack here.
There you go.
Yeah.
That helps.
That actually
I
does
look
it.
through my Dossy pile to see if I
Sorry,
can.
like that actually makes a difference.
Consult the Dobby.
In response to rapid hybridization, Evan sacrifices Davi to flash in Teferi, Mage of Zalfir.
Rapid hybridization fizzles.
Yes, we still have an ad nauseam on the stack.
Yes. You can no longer cast instants or sorceries. Each opponent may.
Oh, you're trying to cast the
I'm casting the Teferi.
Teferi, yeah.
So do you want to respond to the Teferi then?
Yes.
Okay.
You're casting Teferi. So, okay.
This is funny.
The Mardu deck with all the interaction.
So,
Yeah, we're watching two
got
blue decks right now.
Yeah, you got it.
So you have how many treasures left?
I currently have 2 treasures available.
In response, Eli casts Cyclonic Rift, bouncing Syr Gwyn back to Evan's hand.
Yeah.
Then we work our way back down.
Teferi.
Teferi. No more instants or sorceries.
Fizzles.
From you guys. My creatures now have flash.
Yes.
Ad nauseam resolves.
Evan flips Open the Armory, Glistening Oil, Swamp, Embercleave, Rakdos Signet, Imperial Recruiter, Luxury Suite, Path of Ancestry, Swords to Plowshares, Teferi's Protection, Valakut Awakening, Command Beacon, Pyroblast, Bloodforged Battle Axe, Steel Paladin, and decides to stop there.
True channel fans know to just let Evan's ad nauseam resolve because he tends to kill himself with it.
Still in response to capture, Evan flashes in Steel Paladin.
Oh, you also drew a Pyroblast.
I'm aware. We're getting there.
We're working on it.
Finally, Evan plays Pyroblast, countering capture. Oh right, this is Eli's turn, who follows that massive stack up with Triskaidekaphile and passes. Jake draws, plays Schizo Death Storehouse and Diabolic Intent, sacrificing Lesser Masticore, coming back with a -1/-1 counter due to persist, fetching up a card into his hand. He plays Collector Oof. Evan groans and the turn moves to Elijah. At the beginning of his upkeep, Elijah loses his Mana Crypt trigger. He draws, plays Carpet of Flowers, and moves to his second main phase, targeting Eli, adding 5 red, and recasts his commander, Etali Primal Conqueror, exiling the top card of each player's library when it enters. Elijah passes. Evan draws and plays Swords to Plowshares, exiling Collector Oof and gaining Jake 2 life. He equips Teferi with Colossus Hammer, the Reaver Cleaver, and Cloudsteel Kieran, and plays Embercleave, drawing through Paladin, equips it to Teferi, and plays Glistening Oil, enchanting Teferi. He moves to combat, attacking Jake with Teferi. Jake takes the hit, dying to Infect, and Evan creates 15 treasures. In his second main phase, Evan plays Bloodforged Battle Axe, drawing through Paladin, equips it to Teferi, and passes. Eli draws and activates Triskaidekaphile, drawing a card, plays an island, and Karn's Temporal Sundering, targeting himself and Teferi. In response, Evan flashes in Guardian of Fate, and in response to the trigger, flashes in Syr Gwyn, Hero of Ashvale, and Imperial Recruiter, fetching up and flashing in Orcish Bowmasters, banging Spellseeker, and amassing Orcs 1. Then, Guardian phases out Teferi and Puresteel, Eli takes an extra turn. The turn moves to Eli. Eli draws and activates Triskaidekaphile, drawing a card, with Evan pinging Dockside and amassing Orcs 1 through Bowmasters. He plays an island and casts Teferi, Master of Time, uptaking him, drawing and discarding a card, with Evan pinging Dockside and amassing Orcs 1, destroying Dockside. Eli passes. Elijah draws and adds 7 red through Carpet and pays 2 life to help transform Etali Primal Conqueror into Etali Primal Sickness. He moves to combat, attacking Evan with Etali.
I will choose to block with a Guardian of Faith and my Orc. Put 5 in front of it.
So, now, if you'd like to kill him, all you have to do is phase out the Guardian of Faith or the...
You need both.
Huh?
He needs both to
Why?
Because there's enough power in front of it.
You died it.
There's 5, and I have 11.
Right?
Right. So if you phase out 1, that puts me to 9 Infect.
It still deals damage.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have 6 life.
Oh shit!
all you have.
No.
That's fair.
I mean, but you're dealing 6 anyway.
11 minus 5. Yeah, you just die.
Yep, I just blocked. I just didn't count right. Damn, that's on me. I just fucking count.
This is
I just died because I can't count. Yep. I was looking at it and I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally fine from infect damage.
it's not the infect that was gonna get you.
Yeah.
It's just the regular damage.
Yep, I died to normal damage.
Sorry.
I flipped the Etali and used the
You got me.
At the end of turn, Eli upticks to Fairy, drawing and discarding a card. The turn moves to Eli. Eli draws and plays Narset, harder reveals, down-ticking her, looking at the top 4, putting Disallow into his hand, the rest to the bottom, and moves to combat, taking Elijah with Baral. Elijah takes the hit, and in the second main phase, Eli upticks to Fairy, drawing and discarding. Eli passes. At the beginning of Elijah's upkeep, Eli down-ticks to Fairy, phasing out Etali. He draws and adds 7 green through Carpet, and at the end of turn, Eli plays Blue Sun Zenith, where X equals 3, drawing 3 and shuffling it back into his deck. The turn moves to Eli. Eli draws, upticks to Fairy, drawing and discarding, plays Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, and downticks Narset, looking at the top 4, putting Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, into his hand, and the rest to the bottom. He plays Jace and upticks him, milling 2 and drawing, plays an island, and at the end of turn, Elijah plays Crop Rotation, sacrificing Carplusian Forest. In response, Eli plays Disallow, countering Crop Rotation. The turn moves to Elijah. At the beginning of his turn, Etali phases back in. At the beginning of his upkeep, Eli downticks to Fairy, phasing out Etali. Elijah draws, plays a Soul Ring, and passes. Eli draws and upticks Jace, milling 2 and drawing, and activates Baby Jace, drawing, discarding, and transforming him to Jace Telepath Unbound, and upticks to Fairy, drawing and discarding. He plays an island and downticks Telepath, flashing back Capture of Jingzhou, and in response plays Narset's Reversal, copying it and returning Capture to his hand. The copy resolves, Eli gains an extra turn, and he recasts Capture, taking another extra turn. He transmutes Muddle the Mixture, fetching up Pull from Tomorrow into his hand, and the turn moves to Eli. At the beginning of his upkeep, Eli plays Pull from Tomorrow, where X equals 11, drawing 11 and discarding a card.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 13.
Nice. Splay him out. You got it.
Triskaidekaphile.
Triska Decklists.
Lucky 13, baby.
Good game.
Oh.
And stayed at 40 life
games.
the entire
Stayed at
time.
40 life.
Yo!
Game.
Elijah sees the writing on the wall, and Eli wins the game.
All right, at the end of round 1, Jake being hated out brings it to a tie for first with Maripol Marauders and Ingvavenheimer at 140 points. Ballistic Studies couldn't get the math right and stays at third, with Borkish Own Masters just not getting anything together in the first round, stuck at last with 70 points. Who's gonna push ahead? Who's gonna fall to the bottom? Who's going to sneak up and take home the prize? Find out next week by continuing to tune in to the Mayhem Summer Slam.